so sick, this fucking song. I fucking love this song. Those pinch harmonics are just like addicting. If you've ever heard this song, Behold the Crown by After the Burial. And my voice is quite low right now. Hold on. Got to bring that way back up. There we go. I had it quite low because I realized that the videos I was making from the students in my class, where the vocal was well down in the mix and it just sounded weird. Sorry, it was way up in the mix. It was like louder than everything by far. And hello. The reason that we have this screen today, ooh la la, is because we're going to be debuting something and the UI is not quite ready yet. So we're working with an alpha. Essentially, I'm working with an alpha stage plugin and I am not showcasing the UIs of alphas. How's it going, Pedro? Thanks, buddy. I missed all y'all too, kinda. There's a reason that I didn't stream this week, and that is because my very favorite video game came out. No other reason in the world. No other reason. MLB The Show comes out. You guys are gonna lose me for like a week. It's amazing that I'm forcing myself to stream this weekend a bunch so that I can pry myself away from the godforsaken game. Oh man, how are you guys doing? Welcome to Freeware Friday. Freeware Friday! Very exciting. Very exciting. Forgot to give it the proper intro. Freeware Friday, I call it instead. No, it's Freeware Friday. Very exciting. And today we're going to be working with an alpha. Now, we're going to talk about what an alpha is and the difference between an alpha and a beta. Pardon me. And the process. We're going to talk about the process as well of how a plugin comes together. Because I don't know that there are a lot of people out there rather, that I think there are a lot of people that would love to know how plugins come together. And we would love to tell you how plugins are coming together. And in this case, we will tell you exactly how this one is coming together and what is going to be kind of involved with the plugin, how it's going to work. Of course, the plugin title is NAM Universal. And that is the neural amp modeler. We wanted to make sure that if we're doing a plugin, when the heart of this plugin, the heart of the plugin was designed by someone else, we're not going to hide that because that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I know that Steve Atkinson has his own thing where he's just like, use it and make it known or don't. I don't give a shit. Of course, I'm not. That's not his exact quote, but that's not his voice either. I don't know how he sounds. But nonetheless, Steve Atkinson, very, very talented man, invented the neural amp modeler. And so instead of calling it something completely different, we are calling it NAM Universal. And really, why do we call it NAM Universal? Basically, we feel that as a team here, this plugin, where did the idea come from? Now, just curious, if you guys are curious at all. It basically came from the group here, the team. We had a group and a lovely team here of 10 plus very talented, passionate, and very experienced individuals. We all love NAM. And we started talking about, listen, like, what are you using with it? What are you using with it? How are you working with it? How are you working with it? And, nobody was just using it on its own. I want to point that out. None of us were using just NAM on its own. None of us, not one of us, was just using NAM by itself and loading the IR in there and whatever. That's the easy way, sure. But none of us were using it that way because we all know that there are ways to make NAM sound better and without having to do a whole lot. And so I noticed that my particular chain with NAM was using roughly 5 or 6 different plugins. And the team around the team, that's kind of what we came up with, was that, most of us are using something for this or something for that, or to warm things up, or to give it a little bit of a fattener and a little bit of a punch here and a punch there. And so we all came together with our ideas as a team. How would we make NAM better? If we could make NAM better, the given version of NAM, how could we make it better? Not how do we use NAM to make ourselves money, but how do we use NAM how do we make NAM better for NAM users, the community? we're not thinking about ourselves here necessarily. We're thinking about the NAM community. How can you guys all make it easily, though, without having to, because I realize we have to talk about this, that we have to realize that NAM right now is being used by a lot of very, very, very new users. And now telling those new users, yeah, you got to put this in this chain, and then this in the chain there, and that in the chain there. Wow, that is spiking all over the place. Hold on, guys. Allow me to open my vocal chain. That is quite a miss up here. I'm just going to bring the shelf down a little bit because that was spiking all over the place. Sorry, guys. All right. So what were we doing in the chain? And how could we make it easy for new users to use that same or something similar to make NAM sound better? Enter Wavemind. Now, Wavemind and Chris and I have been friends for a little while now. We met and we got along really, really well. And we both had this idea of, like, how could we make NAM better? We got to that conversation. I said, well, my team and I have an idea. He says, well, fucking let's do it. Boom. Here we're going to go. And Wavemind is a new developer based in the Netherlands, by the way. Fantastic developer. They've got some freeware out there right now. A wonderful free Maxon 808 called the X Drive. And they've got a free cabinet section and also a free Fortin 33 called the Fort Boost 22. You guys head over there ASAP to get that stuff from Wavemind, because if you're a NAM user, you're also really connected with other freeware as well. Most people I know are pretty connected with the freeware. And if they're using NAM, you can see, a lot of my freeware friends, we'll call them, over the years that I've met with on the Sam Sim Reviews. I see a lot of those same names and those same faces and a lot of those beautiful minds out there in the NAM community and talking. And, they connect so well with it. And it's wonderful. But we were thinking, how can we make NAM better sounding for everyone? And there's Genome. But in order to get Genome, you have to be a T-Notes user. And that's not hard. You can get a couple of cab packs, fire up Genome, and you're going to be good to go. But I find that Genome looks like it was made in Tron. I want something that looks like a fucking amp. Why is there nothing out there right now that makes NAM look like a real amplifier? So, again, this is another part of the idea. We are trying to build something that makes... I can't even explain it to you right now because I don't want to give it away, because we're really going to be like, pow, here it is. And we really hope that everybody likes it. So now let's get to some of the tones that we're going to be working with. And I can talk about the signal chain maybe a little bit. But more so we'll be talking about the signal chain when the plugin actually comes out, which we're hoping to be within about a month. We're hoping. Now, this is not one of those. This is just going to be one of those things that's for the NAM community. How's it going, Bo? Sorry, I just noticed that you dropped in. Alphas and betas can be rough. Yes. So we're going to be talking about alphas and betas. Now, if you're an experienced AmpSim user or even a roughly newer user, you've probably heard the term beta before. Now, what betas are basically plugins that are pretty much ready for release. The UI is in place. Everything looks like it's going to, or pretty close to the way it's going to look at release. And this is generally distributed to a beta team or a beta group. And in that group, people, mostly experienced users. We're going to talk about what it takes to be a beta tester in another stream. We've talked about it a little bit. If you're into beta testing for just personal gain, and so you can make content first and you can have it out first, I'm just going to go ahead and say fuck off, because nobody really needs you. I'm just going to be honest with you. If you're not there to help the plugin get better for release, just go away. You know what I mean? Just go away. That's not what beta testing is. Beta testing is not about being first. Beta testing is about helping to be part of a team that helps a plugin rip when it comes out, and it makes sure it's as good as it could possibly be with the best presets possible when it comes out for release. And then to have the pride. Why do we do stuff like that? So we can have the pride, not to be like, I tested it first. That's not why we do that, although it's fun. It's cool to see stuff before other people, but that's not why we're doing it. Now, beta testing is essentially, you feel good about being part of a team. You feel good that the product came out perfected and as close to perfect as it can be. Now, if you ever get on a beta team, your goal is to just kind of go through it all and make sure that it's as ready for release as possible. You know what I mean? And to do that, you got to have some experience. If you're a brand new AmpSim user, you could still be useful on a beta team because beta developers often like to know how their plugins are going to go over with brand new users. That might be most of your worth there, and that's okay. Also, remember, when you're part of a beta team, if you sign, it's probably assumed that if you're part of that group, that you're signing some sort of a non-verbal or whatever agreement called an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, meaning don't tell people about what you're doing. Don't post pictures of it and all that kind of stuff. Now, in this case, the only beta testers are going to be on our team and probably a couple of you guys, a couple of our more trusted users out there. Pedro, a few of you guys will probably get in on that beta action as well for NAMM Universal, and then we'll have it out as fast as we can. Now, moving through, what an alpha plugin is essentially, it is a rough draft. No UI, it's a whole lot of gray and black and mostly faders. There's not going to be a lot of knobs to turn. There's going to be, usually it's just like faders, up and down, up and down, right and left. You know, you're not going to have knobs. It's not going to be a perfected UI. You're not going to be, 3D cab sections are often just going to be a stack of IRs, and or you're just kind of moving a pin, like just a little white dot over a circle. And, you know, there's nothing fun to look at. It is what it is. It sounds close, but you're still perfecting it before, and you're trying to get the layout so that they can give it to a UI designer. And so here it is. Everything's in the right spot. You're going to now do your thing with it. Now, and it takes some time. It does. It takes time to do it. F you. F me? Oh, no. Oh. All right, so what we're doing today is we're testing out some of what we're going to be kind of dealing with NAMM Universal. A little bit of that, and then nearing the end of the stream, the second half of the stream, most likely, is going to be all about, it's going to be just basically about how to get some good hard rock tones and that sort of thing. I know that like there's a lot of focus on metal, gent, metal, deathcore, metalcore, gent, deathcore, slam, all that. New metal's back, guys. It's coming. But yeah, just gonna bring this up a tiny bit so it's not too there. I can move back up a little bit. So hold on. Basically, your job is to give the plugin a fair shakedown. Yeah. Crashing, optimization issues, yeah. And it's handy if you have a couple of different DAWs on your computer. But I mean, as long as you're on one DAW, you generally, if it's a smart developer, they'll make sure that the beta gets into the hands of people with various systems, Mac or Windows, people with various DAWs, be it, you know, everything, you know, not GarageBand. If you're using GarageBand still, come on, get into the new age. At least bust out some Reaper. It's free, basically, kinda. You'll get to that part. But still, if you're still using GarageBand, I always love it, though, when, like, you'll see in a user group, but there's always that guy that's going to ask, when are you going to make it compatible for the insert oldest DAW ever here, you know? Or it's, like, really rare, strange DAWs, old DAWs, and stuff that's discontinued. When are you going to make it compatible? When are you going to get a new fucking DAW, you know? That's a whole other story. But in the meantime, alphas. We're testing the alpha today, kind of. We're testing pieces of the alpha. And then the alpha gets, of course, put together once we've assembled what we believe is going to be the final signal chain of the story. Yo, what's up, Eddie? How's it going, my friend? Excited. It's Friday today. I'm beyond excited because it's Friday. I've got the window even open right now. I've got the blind open. I'm letting in some sunlight. That's what one guy said to me. One guy had said in the comments, he said, your environment's too bright. There's nothing I can do about that. There's a fucking window right beside me. I'm sorry that I don't do my streams from a little hole in my mom's basement that's like 8x8. This room is a little more than 8x8, but I'm not in the basement. I'm on the main floor. I've got a giant window. I can't even really get blackout curtains for this because it's always going to shine in from one side or the other. So there's not much I can do about it. And it's painted white inside this little inlet inside this, like the window frame here. So it's always going to kind of pump some light. I've been battling it forever. The only thing I can really do is cover the entire window frame, and I'm not going to do that. It's ridiculous. I will do some streams later at night, though. I am going to start doing some streams. I've got some North American folks that have been emailing us and just asking me when I'm going to do some streams at hours that they can actually watch them. And I, of course, asked them, where are you guys at? Well, one guy was in California, the other guy's in Utah. And then I'm like, well, shit, I guess I'm going to have to do some later on streams. I could do that. No problem. We're going to get to it. This is an Ibanez RG. This is this is a kind of fancy RG. This is like, it's just got a nice top on it. It's essentially very similar to the rest of the RG universe. I am just going to make sure that this needs a tiny neck adjustment, and I'm just going to get to it while we're sitting here chatting. I don't really care. Hopefully you guys don't either, because shit happens. Got Cannibal Corpse playing in the background. Isn't that all we really need? Also, we were going to do a tone talk on a Cannibal Corpse tone talk, because we are... our featured product this month is a wonderful, absolutely wonderful rectifier, Rev F, Amp Suite Rev F. Why? Why must you make this difficult on me? All right, that is toy. Anyways, yeah, it's a wonderful rectifier, and we kind of wanted to add, I really did want to add, do a tone talk Cannibal Corpse, but I got to do a little more research first. Anyways, how is your weekend going? Hey, Pedro, good here. Beautiful weather. It's still cool here. We had this like unseasonably warm weather that melted all the snow. We have no snow whatsoever. It's beautiful. Just beautiful. And in this RG, by the way, I've got a set of Fishman, Matt Hefty. Matt Hefty. You know that Matt Hefty guy? No, anyways, it's Matt Hefty's from Trivium's signature set. And it's a great sounding set. And I recently figured out that I had the heights all fucking wrong for these. Oh God, I got the fucking heights are all wrong. I realized this when I just realized it. When when you play through a rectifier, your pickup height, it'll let you know if your pickup height is jacked up or if it's off. Some other amps, it's not quite as easy to tell. But with a rectifier, it's definitely very easy to tell when your pickups are kind of amiss. And in this case, they were. Sam on his way through, ladies and gentlemen. Samwell. Hi, Sam. How's it going, dude? Come on in. You coming in? Oh, let's get Sam his ride. We are good. And now, if anybody's curious, Brimir, our boy here, he's on the couch behind me, cleaning his leg right now. He is doing great. I'm so happy to be able to share with you guys that Brimir is doing fucking great. He has responded like an absolute Hulk to his medications, and he is doing fucking great. And I would argue to say that I'm very, very proud of this animal. And he's a tough little bastard. He's a tough man. So yeah, he's putting up a good fight. And pancreatitis so far is 0 for 2. 0 for 2 because this dude is too tough. Might get him eventually, but not gonna be right now. All right, so I'm just gonna throw together a pedal here. So essentially in NAMM Universal, you're gonna be able to use, as far as I know, none of the other plugins do this. But if there is a plugin that does this, that's fine. It's not really a big deal. Right now, this is going to be set up so you're going to be able to use a NAMM pedal and a NAMM amp together in the same suite, or be able to not use the pedal. You'll be able to use profiles that have an entire signal chain. You'll just have to bypass some things, and we'll get to that when it comes out. Okay. Now I have activated this is a Fortin modded 808. Now we have a couple of different components in here. There is a gate. There is a neural amp modeler. There is another neural amp modeler. And now there are going to be a couple of different additions in here that are just genius additions from Wavemind. And our team here suggested a few different things. There is a sort of a tone stacky type thing that you'll get to play around with that falls in between the pedal modeler and the neural amp modeler. Okay, so essentially there's this kind of tone stacky type thing. I'll explain it a lot better when we get the plugin out, but I don't want to get too crazy with it right now. Okay, and I'll be able to show you guys how things sound with and without these additions. And then we have this, also have a plugin that's between the modeler and the dual IR section. There is a dual IR section in this that will have a very, very limited amount of controls involved. You'll have two different sides. You'll be able to load two different files, and you'll be able to have you'll have some control of that in there as well, be it high pass, low pass, resonance, whatever it is. We haven't really determined. That's kind of in Wavemind. They're kind of working on the IR section. We're working along with them. Super Sam, indeed. Yeah, like I thank so much, guys. We got some really rad comments in the YouTube videos from people that are curious about how he's doing, and I'm just so happy to be able to tell you guys that he's doing great. He's awesome right now. All right, so now in the IR loader today, I'm going to be loading up some of Eddie's stuff, but for now, all I have loaded up is God's Cab. This is a free cabinet that you guys can go get right now from Wilkinson Audio, constantly pimping out the God's Cab. If you've never used God's Cab before, it is the best free rectifier, oversized recto, Metsubuki 412 cabinet that you're going to get. It's the all hail the king. It might be one of the best free packs out there. A bunch of different mics, a bunch of different files and positions. You just have to you can create your own blends if you've got something like Libra or another file blender. Fantastic stuff. Caleb, what's going on, dude? How are you? Freeware Friday. Very excited to be here. It's going to be a fun weekend. We're supposed to get some snow here this weekend. If we do, I'm going to be depressed as fuck. And I'm going to be inside all weekend. I will choose to ignore the outside world, sir. I want nothing to do with snow at this point, because right now it's sunny and beautiful. Although we did just have a couple of, right at the end of the season here, winter likes to let us know it's still a thing and just occasionally fires us a couple of minus 25 Celsius kind of days. Now, for an amp, I'm going to load up. Jeez. Oh, I loaded that in the wrong NAM loader. I'm smart. So smart. Oh, wait. No, I didn't. Fantastic. Okay, so I've got the pedal. Deliverance. Fuck, I absolutely love this song, but I have to skip it because I just don't want it to get nuked. There's a couple songs that keep getting me, they're just like tapping me on the back, letting me know that like, hey, we're just letting you know that you're listening to some music that doesn't belong to you in the background of what you're doing. Like, seriously, stop, get off my ass. Get off my fucking ass about it. I'm going to be that guy. Anyways, so we're going to turn the gate off on both of these right for now, because we're going to be doing our own gates. So we may not, I don't even think there would be a control for gate. I think there would just be input, bass, middle, treble, output, instead of adding the gate for absolutely no reason. Rad metal scream. This is a fucking awkward scream in this song, though. I'm doing it. That's horrible. Killer black metal from Thrawn, though. Killer black metal. All right, so we're moving along. We've got the neural amp modeler. We've got a tone stacky type thing, we're going to call it. You're like, oh, that's just like genome. Not exactly. And we've got this kind of, we'll call it a fattener in the mix here. We're going to show you what things sound like with and without this stuff kind of happening. And so if you guys have any requests as far as amps that you'd like me to try out during this whole situation here, let me know. For now, I'm just going to go with some kind of trusted and true, easygoing favorites. I am going to fire up. I've got a bunch of different profiles that I really, really like, but I'm not going to get too crazy right now. I'm just going to go with... Oh, so the other good thing is, by the way, there are going to be profiles preloaded into this thing so that anybody, you won't have to hit Tone Hunt. There's going to be somewhere in the plugin, you'll be able to just hit a button, and there'll be a little tiny Tone Hunt logo, and you'll be able to hit the button and go straight to Tone. It'll open up a browser window straight to Tone Hunt. But inside, there's going to be a number of profiles from some terrific creators that have given us the A-OK, by the way. I know there was one person that was kind of nosing around a little bit and let me know out of nowhere. Just sent me this weird message that, hey, listen, I just want to let you know that profiles are the property of the creators. I'm just like, yeah, I fucking know that. Well, well, if you're going to go including profiles in this thing, you might want to have their permission. Yeah, we fucking have it. Arlington Audio, Emil Robe, Pip Priss, and a number of others have given us the A-OK. Mark Swarbrick as well, given us the A-OK to include everything they have, which we aren't. Here's the deal. We're including some of our favorites, or at least some of my favorites, from Arlington Audio, Emil Robe, Mark Swarbrick, and Pip Priss. However, not their entire collections will be in there. Why? Because we want to leave you hungry and thirsty for more. We want to give you guys just a little bit of what we feel is the rad stuff from these nice folks. And then the rest of it, you'll have to hit Tone Hunt and kind of keep your finger to the pulse on Tone Hunt and make sure that you head over there. I'm very excited about all of this, as you can tell. All right, so let's get into some chugging. I know we're chatting a lot, and that's kind of what we do here. It is what it is. Don't like it, you find somebody else to watch, all right? I really don't mind. I really don't mind, and it will not crush my soul if you find somebody else to go watch. All right. Ooh, that's a lot of noise. Why is it? Why do you do these? All right, hold on. So, something is a problem here. Hold on. I know that's very quiet. Give me a second to get this all fired up here. Now, I want to make sure we've got the good stuff loaded up. And we do. We've got, I'm going to go over some of the profiles. We're going to be, obviously, we haven't nailed that down yet. Hang on. That sounds pretty good. Pretty good. So that's a PV6506, it says. And that is from Arlington Audio. I'm going to find something that's a little bit more kind of up straight up the middle. And there's still a lot of stuff that we're kind of trying out. All right. Let's give that a go. Now, it's giving me a bit more noise than I kind of care for. I'm going to bring this up a bit. All right, so this is sounding, I don't know, something's not sounding right to me right now. I don't know exactly what it is. Can't be sure. Something's not sounding perfectly right to me in the moment. But I had this issue the last time I used the neural ant modeler with active pickups. Has anybody else, I'm probably just dreaming this up in my mind, but I'm really going to have to do some tests now. I want to do some tests with active and passive pickups through the neural ant modeler. I've been using a little bit of both in kind of trying things out and narrowing things down to a certain selection. Now, all right, so we're going to add the tone stack. I'm just going to take the boost pedal out of the mix. And we're going to add the fattener. So I'm just going to play around here. That sounds pretty decent so far. Pretty decent. Could probably give that a little bit more. That's just, literally, it's just all I'm using right now is, I'm actually just going to narrow it down to one file. So this is just a 57 file. And I'm just going to do that instead. Wow, that's such a sweet lick. I wish I was that good. All right, now we're going to add the fattener to the mix. So here is without, this is just the neural ant modeler and an IR. Add the fattener. Now, I'm just going to add a boost pedal here now. Now, inside this kind of fattener, you're going to have 4 different controls. You'll have controls for oomph, sparkle, and sort of a neat compression little type thingy McBob. Can't really explain it because it's sort of just one fucking knob. And there's also a smooth kind of deal. Now, I'm going to add some oomph. Now let's add some sparkle. Pick up your change! All right, so that is the sparkle. And now if I'm going to bring the oomph down, I'm going to bring the sparkle up considerably. Now we're going to play with this compression type toy a little bit. So here's again, this is without. And with. That's what I'm talking about. Can you imagine being able to play that lick just on command? Jesus, that dude is just an absolute monster. Now backing off the sparkle, and let's bring up the smooth. That's a little bit, you know, it starts to get a little muddy there, so I'm gonna just kind of bring the sparkle up, and let's see if I can mold that a little bit better. My mic is kind of picking up the odd kind of squip and squeak. I apologize for that. There's nothing I can do about it unless I put the mic up here. I'm still toying with the idea of what I want to do with the mic. Like, I don't want to go spend a bunch of money. There's one mic I really want to buy. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But I heard it's just unbelievable. But it's like a $4,000 microphone. I'm like, fucking nope, bro. But I have a Rode NT1A. This is a very cost-effective microphone that I've had for fucking forever. Absolutely had this microphone forever in a day, and it's never done me wrong. I'll be getting a new camera before I get a new microphone for sure. Got that Lumix on the mind for probably and hopefully next winter. We'll see. Next winter is when I'm aiming. And this is without the compression. Now, with. Oh, that sounds good, doesn't it? Woo! Absolutely excited about this plugin. And I hope you are too. I hope you are too. And I want to clarify something I said earlier. I have no disrespect towards anybody out there that's going to use NAMM to profit. I don't want to make that mistake of make the mistake of giving you guys the impression that I just don't feel that anyone should ever use NAMM in a plugin that for profit. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that anyone and everybody that uses NAMM in a plugin, whether it be free or paid or fucking whatever, just be transparent about it. Just say, hey, we're using NAMM. We're using some NAMM for this or that. You don't have to tell people. I know that like recently there was a plugin that came out and I don't know if they were 100% transparent about it or what the hell happened exactly, but something happened and somebody was all pissy pants about it. But the fact of the matter is, if Steve Atkinson, the guy who invented the wonderful man that invented this wonderful piece of gear here, if he does not care that people are using it and whether they're transparent about it or not, or whether they profit or not, if he doesn't care, you guys got to stop caring about it. Like, you guys got to stop. Like, I see like there's a lot of people that are like very about it. We can't get too rigid. Can't get too rigid about it. It's going to be cool, and there's going to be a huge wave of plugins that will factually have NAMMs happening somewhere inside. And that's okay. I know one developer right fucking now that is planning to put just a pedal into one of the suites that they already have that loads NAMM pedals. That's all he's doing. Nothing, no big deal. Just a little box where you can, if you'd like, you can add a NAMM pedal. Just no big deal. But it's cool as fuck. I love it. I'm just saying, if you're going to, whether you're profiting, whether it's free or not, I really feel that the recognition should be there. I feel like the transparency should be there. If you want to keep it secret and the man himself does not care, then I don't care either. I'm just saying, I think it's better when people are transparent about using someone else's technology. Unless it's one of those scenarios where it happens more than you guys might think. Okay, this might sound insane, but there are a lot of developers that sell tech to each other. It exists. It happens all the time where one developer will see something really badass that the other developer did and call them up, or not call them up, maybe call them up. And a lot of them are friends. It's not all cutthroat and kind of fuck you kind of shit going on up at the top, guys. There are a lot of them, they know each other and they're friendly, I'm assuming. And in some cases, there are developers, even at the top, that have licensed their tech out to other bigger companies, whether it be power amp modeling or this or that or the other thing. There's a lot of sharesies. There's a lot more sharesies than you might think going on. And there's nothing wrong with that. And they don't have to be transparent about it because they're paying each other fucking money to do it. And that is a no big deal kind of situation. If they license and they pay for it and whatever, you don't have to be transparent about shit. That's all between y'all. But if you're using someone's free stuff that they put out, and if you're using it in your plugin, I thought it would be, you don't have to, but the last I'm going to say on this is that you should put it out there and just give them a little thumbs up. We use NAMM. We're not telling you how, and stop asking. but we're not telling you how we used it or where we used it, but we used it. And thanks so much to this guy for creating. That's all I'm saying. Okay, and that's it. All right. And now I also want to clarify that, like, by saying, like, how would I make NAMM better? It's like, that's up to a lot of people, and that's what he's done here. He's put something out there and said, all right, you guys go and do whatever you're going to do with it. Make it cool as fuck. Make it, please. I'm hoping that he's kind of like, geez, I hope that nobody uses it to make something that's really sucks. So far, all the plugins that I've tried that had NAMM involved in any way, shape, or form were all really awesome. So fuck yeah to that, and cheers to all you guys for supporting what they're doing. All right, so essentially what we're working with here is a signal chain that involves NAMM as a pedal. There's a sort of tone stacky type thing to kind of prepare the signal before it smashes into the profile. And then there's something else to prepare the signal even furthermore before it hits the IR. If that makes any sense to, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And that's basically as much as I'm going to share on the inner workings of the plugin for now. I'm not even really going to use the tone stacky type. I'm calling it a tone stacky type thing because we really haven't figured out. It's not quite a tone stack. It's just sort of a, geez, we're going to have to get into it when it comes out, guys. I really just don't want to give too much away. And later, so second half of the stream today, what are we doing? Well, I had some people ask me, what about getting free tones for anything but metal? Why does it always have to be metal, and deathcore and slam and everything else? Why can't it be like, can you guys do something like, can you show us how to get some good rock tones? Maybe some punk rock? Yes, I can. And thank you for asking for punk rock because it doesn't get asked for a lot. And I really do love. I grew up as a musician, cut my teeth in the 90s skate punk scene, grew up right in the heat of the 90s skate punk movement. I was in a ton of punk rock bands. I lived in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, the epicenter for punk rock in Canada. In Canada at that time was Montreal, and that was where all the good things, all punk stuff and ska stuff was happening here in this country. And I moved over there, and it was a lot of fun there too. So yes, hell fucking yes. I'm always willing to show you guys how to make some good punk rock tones, or even like a tone talk on someone like a Blink-182. That would be pretty fun. Because if you go and listen to an album like Enema of the State, or really anything except for their very first album, Dude Ranch, even go listen to Dude Ranch or any of those albums, and it features a gigantic guitar tone. Green Day, gigantic fucking wall of guitars. So yeah, Ramones, I go way back, huge wall of guitars, strung out, giant walls of guitars. So yeah, there's a lot more guitar to punk rock than some people may think. It's not just like, yeah, they just use any amp they can get their hands on and go on, turn it up as loud as they can. Sure, there are bands that did that, but yeah. Now, here we have, basically, this is a PV, what am I using for a profile right now? This is a PV 5152 Crunch, and with the gain at 10. So again, we're going to go, that's without the IR fattener. Now we're going to turn it on. Yeah, fuck yeah. And hell yeah, and heck fuck yeah. Do I swear enough on here? Yeah, probably. Gosh, what a great day today. It's going to be a great weekend. Tomorrow, what do we have going on? Of course, it really depends on... I'm drooling. It depends on when you're watching this. But tomorrow, Saturday, what are we doing? We are doing, we're trying to confirm a guest. We had a guest kind of maybe lined up, but we wanted to have someone kind of come talk to us about thrash when we were doing a thrash stream. So we're going to be, this is not a tone talk. It was supposed to be a tone talk. This one's just going to be a High Gain Haven, and it's going to be based on thrash. It'll be High Gain Haven, Thrashville. It's going to be pretty fun. This is kind of sponsored and brought to you by EMG Pickups. We may be doing an EMG giveaway at some point. I'm talking with Tommy over at EMG about maybe doing something for our wonderful, wonderful viewers in the base, where the tight base that we've made here. Tight base early on that we've made here of some wonderful people that have come to hang out and have a good time and listen to some. Oh, this song's fun. I've been listening to a lot. I'm still on the Balkan ska thing, guys, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. If you hear weird Russian fucking ska music, just pay it no mind. For example, yeah. So I'm having a good time with this weekend. We're gonna be doing some Doom. The Doom Tomb is back this weekend. Gonna have fun. That's gonna be our first later on stream. We're gonna do that. I think 7 o'clock tomorrow night, maybe. Depends. We're planning on watching Roadhouse 1 and the new remade Roadhouse this weekend. So I don't know exactly what time it's going to be. It could even be a little bit later on. If we watch the movie earlier, we might watch the movie later on. We'll see. All right. But I'm going to do the first ever later stream. I'd say later, but it's not going to be that late. Just so we can encourage maybe some new folks to join us occasionally from different time zones, as we do mostly do streams pretty early. For most people, I do like to make sure people from overseas can watch, and that we are kind of in the middle somewhere. Woo, that was a weird sound, eh? I don't know why it keeps doing that. I don't know why occasionally we get that really loud squibble. I'm gonna pop open a new profile here. There's one particular, the ESH Raptor, and this is we're really trying to get in touch with the creator that made this profile. So if you know Jared, aka Helga B, tell Jared that we're trying to get in touch, and that we have Philippe Chris also trying to get in touch. We really love to use that ESH Raptor, because this thing is just a huge. I'm going to get to it right now. Miscellaneous amps. And we're going to get to the ESH Raptor 3. This thing is just holy cow. This thing sounds good. Hold on. This is clean crunch. Wow. Okay, so this is without the fattener. With. Again, I've got it set. I don't think I like the way I have it set there. That was just too bright. That is just the crunch channel. I want to go to the higher gain channel. And you're like, wait, that's not the high gain channel? No. Ultra gain. And if you're still here, give me a heads up. Give me a what's up. How are you? Hey. Making sure that I'm just making sure that I've still got the chat at the right right speed here. All right. So we are getting pretty close to that second half, and we're just going to be hanging out probably about 90 minutes today instead of 120. And then tomorrow, I think the streams are going to be sitting at roughly 90 minutes as well. We will be doing the Doom Tomb. Yeah, the Doom Tomb will be 90 minutes. The Thrashville will be 120 minutes, 2 hours of thrash tones. And boy, do I have the perfect guitar to do it. Thank you so much to Tommy at EMG. He sent me over this nice little package that I was able to kind of put together a guitar that is effectively exactly the same in the guts wise as what Slayer had in their guitars in the 90s. And oh man, I'm excited about it. So excited about it. Still here, still alive, and you guys, man, I'm so glad that you guys are around today. It's going to be a lot of fun. It has been a lot of fun so far, just checking out this wonderful little bit of stuff that I can't tell you how excited I am to have NAMM users, people that have been with NAMM, like, you know, really, really loyal to NAMM since it came out. And I've really just jumped on this bus and on the bandwagon, not semi-recently, but we get recently-ish. And as soon as initially when I gave it a shot, I guess the profiles I was trying did not give me, it was not a, it was kind of one of those. I don't know about this. And I was like, I'm going to hang back. I'm going to wait and see what happens. And see what there wasn't a lot of profiles. And I tried this like little folder full of profiles that a friend had sent me. You know, you got to check this stuff out. It's free. It's going to be the way of the future or something. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm always willing to try new things. Always willing to try everything free that somebody else recommends and says rocks, or it looks interesting to me. So anyways, he said, man, you got to try this thing. He sent me that folder, and I just remember going through it and just being like, oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. There was only one profile that really kind of was like pretty decent, and I just wasn't really feeling it. And then I could see he was very much correct. I could see the potential. As I'm going to hang back for about a year or under, just like I do with a new video game system. I hang back for about a year, let the titles build up, let the bugs get the fuck out, and get a system that's like ready to go and ready to impress. And in this case, same thing with the neural amp modeler. I plugged in, I went through a bunch of tone hunt stuff that I grabbed, and I was floored. But immediately I was left thinking, how can I make this sound better? How can I make this sound how can I make this cooler with just like shit that I have laying around in my plugin vault? And that was the fun part. The experimentation was the fun part of trying to figure out how I can get this to sound bigger, fatter, more realistic. And all of it came kind of to fruition. And the team here, everybody has had amazing ideas that kind of went way, way over my own and has made this kind of way cooler than I could have ever made it with just my own very small brain. It's nice having people here on the team that are just as passionate, just as more experienced and much smarter than myself. So it's wonderful to have those people around. Eddie, Bo have been very, very much huge in the development, along with, of course, Chris from Wavemind. And man, I just cannot wait until people kind of sink their teeth into this and see if they like it or if they don't, or what the story is. Either way, it will be 150% free. There's no strings attached. Like it's free, but you got to buy some shit first. There's none of that. It's 100%. You just hammer it. It's free. You'll be able to download it and be on your way. And then, and you'll be laughing. And hopefully you dig it, and hopefully people will review it and give us their honest feelings about it. Because it's not always easy to review something honestly that you're really, really close to. If you're close to a project, sometimes it's not easy to do that. Sometimes you can't be too critical of your baby. Oh, it's the baby. No, my baby's not ugly. That kind of a situation. So, yeah. Fuck yeah. This pickup set is rad. This guitar, I don't know. This guitar plays nice, but this guitar kind of came from a weird situation where I purchased something else and it showed up damaged and they couldn't get me another one. And this is what I ended up with. And I was sort of like a fine kind of situation, but. So this is the ESH Raptor. If you've not tried this pack from Tone Hunt, ESH Raptor, you need to try it. You got to try this fucking thing out because this is one of the best profile packs I've tried. Capture packs, whatever you want to call it. Some people call them profiles. Some people call them captures. I don't really know which one is okay, so I'm just going to call them. I'm going to call them profiles because essentially that's kind of what they are, right? So I'm having a great time today. I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break. I think we've gone about as far as we're going to go today. I could go over some clean tones and stuff like that, because the clean tones, boy, have they ever been nice. They've been really nice. This IR fattener kind of situation thing that we've got going on here is amazing with clean tones. And the tone stack, admittedly, the tone stack, I've just got to kind of, where there may be a couple of small tweaks we've got to do to it before we really showcase that sort of the tone stacky type thing, as I described earlier. You think it's going to be big? That's cool, man. I hope it's, but that's the thing. It's like, I hope people really like it. That's all. And it's, for me, the goal of this, the whole goal and the purpose of this plugin is to give all NAMM users, whether beginner or experienced, the opportunity to use NAMM the way that we've been using NAMM at home, where with all these little enhance, and all these little enhancements really make a difference in the enjoyment of all the profiles. And they've even in situations where, like, it's not going to turn a turd into a turd. Okay, like if it's a bad profile, and there are some out there. I've found a few. But if it's even like a sort of good profile, you can kind of make it into a good profile with these enhancements. Okay, and that is the fucking coolest thing about this, is that it's the whole idea we had is, what can we do and who can we work with to give to give anyone the opportunity to use NAMM the way that we use it and enjoy it the way we do and love it the way that we have been. Okay. There will be no post effects. I don't think there'll be any kind of like delays or anything like that in the suite. The reason for that being, I think, me personally, and for most of our team, we know that post effects are kind of useless. Post effects are kind of useless, guys. If you're recording your own stuff, the signal chain doesn't make sense. You have to bypass your post effects to add an EQ, and then you're going to add delay and then reverb after the fact. It doesn't really, not every plugin gives you the opportunity to fully EQ your tone before it hits the post effects section. And there aren't a lot of those out there. And you need to be able to EQ. And if you're EQing anything and you're trying to EQ the delay and the reverb, good luck to you. Good luck to you getting that to punch through the way that you want it to. I am not a professional mixing engineer. I just play one on TV. Literally, I'm not a professional, but it's pretty easy going. That's a pretty easy going kind of thing. Now, what does the IR fattener, the compression, I think I wanted to kind of describe a little bit. It's almost a little bit like the kind of the Waves C4 sneak trick. It's similar in that it really does take out the oomphies, but you're like, why would you add a control for oomph and then just add another control to remove the oomph right after it? That's not entirely the way it works, and you'll be able to figure that out for yourself when you guys give this a shot. There's bypasses for all the different little sections and things that we're adding. It's a lot of fun. So far, the whole process has been a lot of fun. Playing around with the alphas has been even more of a blast. And just kind of getting to play with like some of these different, signal chains and working as a team to kind of make this as cool as possible. And then you wake up in the morning and you see this conversation and you see people bouncing stuff off each other at wee hours of the morning. And, you're kind of like I'm reading this with my breakfast going, oh, fuck yeah, these guys are all point here. This is awesome news. Like everybody here has been really fun to work with in this. And it's just been, yeah, man, no ulterior motives here other than to, of course, it's nice to be able to grow our name in a positive way right away and give people something to just remind people that we're there. That's nice. I won't lie. That is the only ulterior motive that I personally have here, is just to give some people something nice and say, hey, take this. You guys know where we're at. Come and join us sometime. We'd love for you to stop by. That's it. And if they never stop by, no problem with me. Just enjoy the cool free shit. All right? That's all I'm saying. And the main person to thank here is Wavemind. So make sure that you head over to Wavemind and download the freeware that they have that we're going to be showcasing in the second half when I'm going over some killer rock tones and how to get some neat punk rock And punk rock, or maybe hard rock, or rock and roll. That's such a cheesy term, rock and roll. I mean, it's not the 50s anymore. Rock tones, hard rock, we'll call it. Similar to bands like, everything that's on the radio, we'll call it. I'll be back in about, we'll call it 3 minutes. I'm gonna switch guitars and take a quick little break, and I will be back. We've only got 5 people here hanging out with us tonight, but hopefully you guys chill out for the remaining bit of the stream. It's probably going to be about another half hour, 40 minutes or so. We're going to talk about punk rock a little bit. We're going to talk about rock a little bit, what makes a good rock tone. And we're going to try to show you guys how you can get some of those tones for free. All right. So I'll be back in about 3 or 4 minutes, absolute tops, and we'll get into some of that. And thanks so much. Honestly, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Wavemind for sponsoring the month. Thank you to Valhalla for sponsoring this wonderful month that we have here. And if you guys haven't checked out Valhalla, please do that. In the 3 or 4 minutes I'm gone, they've got some really cool stuff, and always more on the way from one of the most eccentric minds in impulse response development. All right, guys. Cheers. I'll be right back. Ahoy hoy. Wow. Can't hear you. I still can't. All right, I'm back. And we're gonna be doing some fun ass punk rock and rock and roll tones today. Wow. that one got me. Pardon me. All right, so what are we doing here? I just kind of got a little zoned into what I was doing there. No reason for that at all. Thanks, buddy. So basically the consensus in the chat, what do you guys think if you're not part of whether you're part of the staff or not? If you guys have, by the way, if you have questions about NAMM Universal, just ask, and I'll see what I can honestly answer. If you have questions about it, I can definitely try my very best. The UI is, as far as I know, going to be a fucking masterpiece. It's being done by one of the absolute best in the business, Lewin Albani. And you might know his work from companies like JST. Although he didn't get to do that absolutely unbelievable Joey Sturgis coin. I wish I had a Joey Sturgis coin of my own. That'd be cool. Anyways, you might know him from companies like JST. He did some stuff for Nalix. He made some of their kind of busted ass looking software look really nice. And at the time, they were doing what they could for UIs, and it looked busted. You know, it was, there's no other way to say it other than their UIs looked like they were from the dump. And that's okay. There are tasteful ways to do a simple UI without trying to do an amp face, an amp head. If you're out there and you're a developer, if you're out there and you're a freeware developer and you have something neat and you're just like, it sounds good, you know what? You're better off than trying to make it look like a real amp and then making it look kind of busted and kind of like whatever. You're better off trying to make, like, maybe go and, pardon me, you're better off trying to go with something like they did with the neural amp modeler here. This is tasteful. This is tasteful, simple, easy, fantastic. It's easy going. It's easy to use. It functions exactly how it does not take somebody extraordinarily gifted. I mean, sure, there's some nice like shading in the knob animations. And I've been told when it comes to UIs, knob animations are probably the hardest thing to do. And in that case, a lot of developers, as I mentioned, have found some success in using like a fader system where there is like uppy downies or lefty righties, that you can do that as well. There are easy and tasteful ways to kind of go about it. And if you feel like you're trying to make it look like a real amp and you're just like, it's not going to come anywhere close, it may be going to turn some users away. And that is just the reality of it. If it's a really, really sketchy looking UI, it's going to turn some people away. So you're honestly better off trying to find anyone you can. And sometimes Lewin, you can always contact Lewin, by the way. He has, he has worked with a ton of freeware developers on different things. And so, find yourself someone that can do some graphics. Oftentimes developers at the lower end, remember, you're in a very giant community. So the Reaper forums, all different types of forums, there's never a harm in just putting a post out there and just saying, listen, guys, I'm a plugin developer, brand new. I've got something. I really feel I've got something that's fun to use. I feel it sounds awesome or it's super effective at what it does. Here's a beta, a link to a beta. I'm looking for someone to do a UI for me. Is there anybody out there that might consider doing a UI for naming rights and for exposure? Yes, sometimes that's going to happen. Sometimes you might find that. There's a lot of developers that have found their senior graphics people that have been with them from the very start just like that. Like where they just kind of put it out there and said, you know, like I can't make it look like anything because I hate doing graphics, or it takes away from my attention from what I'm doing on the internals. You know, I really need someone to handle graphics for me, but I can't afford to pay you because it's just freeware right now. Oftentimes you might find people that'll work with you. So no, we're not. Here we go. Nothing. I just love that Joey Sturgis coin. How much money is it a coin or is it a seal of approval? Like notarized. You ever seen the show The League when fucking Buddy becomes a notary? Oh man. Taco. John LaJoy. If you've never seen the show The League, go and watch it right now. So what are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing? Is this guy ever going to shut up and play guitar? Absolutely not. It's not what we do here. I don't like playing guitar. I just like to talk. All right. So anyways, we're just going to be going over some easy ways to get some really effective, free and effective ways to get some nice kind of punk rock tones or hard rock tones. And we were just using one of the ways that you can do that. The Neural Amp Modeler has plenty. It's not just for metal. Not at all just for metal. Not even just a tiny bit just for metal. Oh, I thought that was Tripium for a second. I was like, oh boy, I'm going to get nuked for this one. It's not Tripium. Anyways, the Neural Amp Modeler, it's a lot of people think it's just for metal. And someone's asked me that. He's like, oh, is it just metal profiles? No, shit, no. There's lots of just like clean. There's shit for everybody, except for bass players. Someone out there, please, someone out there with a nice bass collection. I would love it for somebody with a nice bass amp or a nice bass preamp collection to do to get like this, like the itch to do profiles. Pardon me. That would be amazing if that happened. Because right now it seems like the bass stuff that's being done is kind of just like after the fact sort of stuff. Like it seems like it's being done by people with mostly guitar gear, because as I've mentioned before, a lot of guitar players and a lot of people that record at home have like a bass solution hanging around just for like an analog hardware bass solution. Mine used to be, I used to have a Sansamp bass driver DI. I don't have it anymore. I've been thinking about replacing that with the Geddy Lee model actually, but it's just not in the budget and I don't care that much. So yeah, but a lot of people keep that one of those little compact scenarios around. So these people, when they do all these different guitar amps, they're like, what can I profile next? Oh, how about I profile my little like one-off bass gear? Like my little one or two different, like, you know, and that's why I feel like there's a bunch of dark glass. There's a bunch of Sansamp PSA, not PSA, sorry, bass driver DIs. Those are kicking around. There's a bunch of those kicking around. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of bass gear though. There's a couple of Gallion Krugers, couple of Ampegs, you know, nothing really like, there's a lot of stuff just kind of floating around. It would be nice to see some more bass gear. That would be amazing. Also, yeah, so let's get started on this punk rock stuff for starters. All right. So if you're interested in making free punk rock tones, and that's one genre, like I don't see, somebody tell me, is there somebody out there, an influencer that's making nice demos, great demos, fun demos, doing like punk rock type stuff? I have yet to see it. There's one guy that I met on Instagram. His name is Anthony something or other. And he, the first guy that I ever saw that was doing plug-in demos and doing like punk rock and hard rock type stuff instead of just always being very, like, it's always seems to be a lot of metal. It seems to be a lot of gent. It seems to be a lot of, I'm starting to see more country guys going after plugins, which is fucking rad, by the way. But punk rock, I haven't seen a lot of it. So for starters, we're going to use the L12X because we always do. And this one's going to be real simple. For a guitar, I'm just using my cost-effective Charvel Skatecaster. And this thing is armed with a, the DiMarzio Super Distortion Classic Rock Classic Rock and Punk Rock pickup. And in the, you're not even going to hear we're not even going to bother with the neck pickup at all. So it doesn't even fucking matter. Although it is the Seymour Duncan Jazz. First, you got to know, where are we starting? What kind of gear are we talking about? Typically, let's just go with like Marshall type tones and Mesa Boogie. Marshall and Mesa Boogie and Soldano, probably the most dominant brands in punk rock that I've ever seen. And as mentioned, I grew up very much right in the middle of that, attended hundreds of punk rock shows, saw hundreds of bands, lots of gear. I was gear obsessed, so I was constantly looking at gear. What does he got? What's he got? What's she got? What's they got? What is he playing? What's his kit? Is that OCDP? Is that a Champagne Sparkle? What's he got back there for sticks? You know, because I was a drummer, a guitar player, and bass player, and all over the place playing in multiple bands. So looking at all gear. And that's most of the reason I got involved with being a bit of a roadie and a tech for a while, is because I like gear, and I was just like lied my way into the job, saying I had a little bit more experience than I did at that point, and then just thank God another tech kind of took me under his wing and taught me a lot of different shit. Otherwise, I would have been a fish out of water and probably sent home the first day. Anyways. Fuck yeah. That sounds great already, and we haven't even done anything yet. 0 pedals. All we've got going here is a single 57 file that we've been using the entire time from the God's Cap Wilkinson audio. If you don't already have it, if you're a NAMM fan, don't live on Impulse. You can live on profiles made by amateurs, and it doesn't take a professional to make a good NAMM capture. As far as I understand, it takes some practice, and it takes having some decent gear, but it doesn't take an industry professional. However, that being said, to shoot a good impulse response pack, you really do have to know what you're doing. So I would suggest that you go out there and make sure you download every little bit of, if you're only into freeware, and these streams are, I understand there's people out there that try to operate as low cost as possible for their hobbies, and that is completely admirable. If you have, maybe you have no budget at all, you have kids, and you have everybody else has expenses that have been growing through the fucking roof these days, I understand more than ever why somebody would only want to use freeware or stuff that they got drastically on sale. I understand that, and these streams are for you and you alone, if that means anything to you. Okay, I want to make sure that you know and everybody understands where you're at with that. Whether it's, even if it's that you have money and that you're just like, this is a weird little hobby for me and I just don't need to spend money on shit like that. I just don't need to. I've got other hobbies I would rather put my money into. Fuck this. I'm going to buy everything, get everything I can for free. And that is also admirable. And if that's you, there are a lot of free impulse responses out there for you, but you're going to have to do a little bit of bobbing and fucking weaving. Some of the stuff you're going to use is factually going to suck because it's made by somebody that doesn't understand how to put a mic on a cabinet and do the process properly. I don't really feel that anyone on the planet should put their very first attempts at impulse responses on the internet. Don't do that. Don't put your first attempts out there on the internet. Your first attempts, keep them to yourself, maybe a circle of friends, and then develop kind of things as you go, and then put it on the internet once you've kind of developed a bit of a thing. You know, I would just suggest that. That's just me though, because you're gonna run into some. If you're only looking for free IRs, you're gonna run into some stuff that's like not so good. 7 Deadly Sins IR pack. Go out there right now, Google 7 Deadly Sins IR pack. It's packed full of stuff, and it's all free stuff. It's free stuff. This pack has been on the internet for ages and ages and ages and ages, and it's like a snowball. It continues to roll, and a lot of times people keep adding to it to where it's become this gigantic wealth of free IRs. Make sure you get your hands on that, because you'll want that. For NAMM users, I really feel the best way to go is just to get the captures of just the head, or a head and a pedal, or just a pedal. Reason being is I feel like it's trying for people that are trying to capture the full rig. I feel like there's more flexibility with just the amp, and if they want to bake in a pedal, that's fine too. But I feel it's best. I like it best without the cabinet baked right into the full rig type thing. I don't really like the full rigs. NAMM Universal is going to kind of focus on more. It's going to be kind of a little bit more based on just the heads and the pedals. But as mentioned, for people that want to use it to kind of enhance full rigs, there'll be a ways to do that as well. You'll just probably have to bypass a couple of things. So back to it. In the punk rock world, as mentioned, the most popular cabinets you ever saw were Marshall and Mesa Boogie. That was it. Even for the most part, Soldano heads and other heads were on top of Mesa Boogie and Marshall cabinets. For some bands, for amateur bands like the bands that I was in, yeah, there was definitely an element to whatever you can get that's loud, use that. And if it sounds good and the distortion or rips, that's even better. But no one I knew was using anything more expensive than like a JCM 800. That just didn't exist because amps were a lot more expensive and we were broke ass punk kids. Now we're talking about professional bands that were on tour and making a living at it. Those bands are using predominantly 412 cabinets. I don't even ever think I ever even saw a 212 cabinet in all the years I was out there. It was always 412 cabinets. Most of the time there was just one cabinet per guitar player. There wasn't typically bands that were coming out there with big stacks, and oftentimes the stack was kind of a show of fuck off. It was like a rock star thing, and punk rock was sort of anti-rock star for the most part at that time. I understand that wasn't like that, but most of the time, unless you were in a really big venue, you didn't see stacks. And a guy that you just didn't see it. Sometimes you'd see a guy, you'd see bands using maybe like a side-by-side, two amps, two cabs, but it really, for the most part, it was Marshall and Mesa Boogie. Now, a lot of bands did really great at blending the two. And you would typically, a lot of times you'd see one guy using Marshall, one guy using Mesa in the band. And it made all the worlds of difference. Tons and tons of difference. Then when modern punk rock started to kind of turn around, the 5150 started to kind of peek its way in. The valve state was a big deal in punk rock as well. And so we'll get there. How are you guys, by the way? Welcome to Freeware Friday. I am so excited to be here with you guys. I'm not going anywhere just yet. I know we said we were going to be at about 90 minutes, but man, we've talked a lot of shit today. My mouth is just running a lot. My mouth is just constantly blah, 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 blah. That's what a sativa does to me. It just makes me a little tiny bit paranoid and very loquacious, chatty. Now, the amount of gain that you're going to talk about really depends on the band. Now, skate punk could have really, a band like Lagwagon could feature not a lot of fucking gain at all, but kind of techie riffs at the same time, but they weren't using a lot of gain. Straight up both guys, Marshall. Boom, boom, Marshall. Blink 182, half Marshall, half Mesa Boogie, one guitar player running a stereo rig. At least that's the way it was for a good while. And then he started using like tremolo verbs and other kind of shit. But for the most part, he was using a dual rec, and I think it was, I hate to say this, JCM 900. Fuck that. I don't like that amp. And this is just literally guitar into L12X. And if you don't have the L12X and you're watching Freeware Friday, please go and get it right now. One of the most versatile, one of the most incredible free amp sims ever made, and I'll stand by that forever until something better and more versatile comes out. This thing is kind of like where it's at. This thing can do just about everything. You can use it with the onboard impulse response, which was made by C-Cal, and it is a blend of the Dave Mustaine 412 cab and I think it is the Gus G cab, if I'm not mistaken. I know because I made the blend. I made it in Libra with the consent of Brian from C-Cal at the time. So if you hit that, you hit the nice blendy blenderton of Marshall cabs, or a Black Star and a Marshall cab, or you can hit that and do use your own assortment. Today, it happens to be a single file from the wonderful Wilkinson Audio God's Cat Pack. So let's see where we're at now for this tone. See, again, why is it... Probably use a little more than that. Now, for pedals, we got all kinds of options, but I hate to say it, back in those days, when you saw a pedal, typically the distortion pedal on the stage was taking care of most of the distortion you were hearing. Back in those days, most of the guys, most of the players out there, like, keep in mind, in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s and all that, where most of the damage was done for punk rock, I would say, even into the 2000s, there were no bands that were using tube screamers in front of amps. It just wasn't really a thing yet. That was happening. Metalcore kind of brought that along in the late 90s, early 2000s, but punk rock guitar players, I don't know that there are many punk rock guitar players that ever really adapted the tube screamer or the distortion kind of boosty type of thing going on. Even the guys that were using rectifiers were kind of really taming the rectifiers by hand and just really dialing things in to make them tight without needing, without really needing the pedal to tighten things up. And they weren't using the amounts of gain that you'd see requiring a boost these days. Although I like to use a boost no matter what I'm doing, even if it's like punk rock these days, because it makes it sound better. But for going more authentic, we wouldn't be using a boost. However, that being said, I'm going to back the gain off to about halfway. And then I'm going to insert one of our pedals here. We have the X Drive from, the X Drive from Wavemind. We've got the Greed Smasher from Mercurial Audio. We've got the Sword. By the way, the Sword has finally been updated by the Luca Capozzi Audio. He's finally done this. This is good. Luca had some issues at his headquarters, so it took a little bit of time to get these presets in there, but man, the presets are in and aren't they juicy? All these presets can be yours now. Just do the little update according to Audiority, and you will get every preset that I hold near and dear to my heart. I made all these with my own two hands, and I painstakingly made these over the course of a few weeks and really put my love into all these presets. So you'll notice that you can do things like F33, F-Blade. These are all different little Fortin type things that have been, we'll call it, I basically just curved. Copied certain curves using, we'll call it a spectral analyzer. All right. We used, I just used just an analyzer to shape certain curves and analyze certain curves. And then I plugged them the best I could plug them into the pedal here. And you guys can do exactly the same thing I did. And all of these presets are essentially based on other things and things that I wanted to try, including wah forward, wah front, wah mid. So you can have that. You want to feel like Michael Amott from Arch Enemy? You just kick in that wah forward, that wah front 1 or 2, and you'll sound just like him, because that dude basically stands on that fucking wah pedal the entire set. Oh man, it's weird when guitar players use the wah pedal as like a filter on like their rhythm tone. It bothers me. But in this case, it's not really that type of a feel. It's a bit of a lessened feel to it. Of course, you can also use the output here to increase the kind of, increase things a little bit if you'd like. And you can also use this Boosty McBoosterton here to add a clean boost of up to 10 dB. So have fun with that and enjoy it. And the presets, in my opinion, are really cool and really do showcase everything this Sword has to offer. We've also got Resington, bad motherfucker. He's a bad motherfucker, that guy. He makes some badass demos. Nice, the dude's super nice. This is his personal signature pedal called the Shoeless Drive, and it is modeled after sort of a modified DOD 250 preamp. This thing is super cool, and I will throw that in there. I also have the Neural Amp Modeler always loaded up for pedal purposes as well, because I'm going to challenge you guys right now. This will be my challenge at the end of the stream, so just remember it right now, just in case I forget. my challenge is going to be to go get this right here. This is the Audio Already L12X that we're using currently. Go download this, then load up Neural Amp Modeler in front of it, like this, like a pedal, like you would in a chain, and then go download all the pedal plugins, all the pedal profiles that you can possibly get your hands on, and try them right through this, because I'm telling you, there are so many that sound super good through this one right here. It sounds like you have a pedal plugin made of that pedal. That's just like you've set it up the way you'd like it. It's awesome. It truly is. For pedals, I don't use the settings. I barely ever use the settings on the Neural Amp Modeler. I kind of like their way they do profiles for pedals is often they set the pedals ideally how the pedals are sort of meant to sound. Or they do it like in this case where they do a whole bunch of profiles based on like very different settings. Like they'll just like they'll put the tone on 1, profile, tone on 2, profile, tone on 3, profile. So typically I won't even bother using the controls on when I'm profiling, using a pedal profile. If you're curious, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so I'm gonna back that off to about there, and then I'm gonna hand it an overdrive. Why not the Maxon 808X, aka the X Drive from Wavemind? Sounds pretty good, guys. I gotta catch up here. I just realized that the chat basically went from a standstill to boom. What's going on? What you got for me? Oh shit! I also, man, I love that you guys just lit this place up. Yeah. By the way, Eddie's IRs. I've meant to kick some of them in, but I just ended up kind of sticking with it. What I was using, because I generally don't like to change IRs unless like the purpose of the stream is to change the IRs a lot. I like to just stick with one IR if I'm going through multiple amps. I don't know why I like to do that. I just like to kind of showcase the amps. So today I probably won't get too cray with the IRs. But by the way, Eddie's what did you end up calling it? Was it just like, it was something ridiculous, like, I don't know. We were suggesting multiple ridiculous names like Shreddy's Cab Shack and some other random stuff. See you later, Bo. Man, I will see you tomorrow, and you know it. Thank you so much for being here, Bo. We are not going to be here too much longer anyways, probably about another 15 minutes. So we're getting back to the point of this second portion of the stream here is to get some kind of good punk rock tones. Now, what I would basically do with the most punk rock tones is like for most amps, as you guys will typically see, I have this thing about sevens. My starting point with a lot of tones, with a lot of amps, is to just set everything to 7 and just kind of work my way around from there. Now, with punk rock tones, it's a kind of a good idea. You want the treble at 7, the middle at 7, and the bass at about 7, depending on the amplifier, of course. Now, with a Mesa Boogie, that's going to be different. Excuse me. It's a bit different with a Mesa Boogie, depending on the rectifier. We're not going to get too crazy with that yet. We have another stream about rectifiers. And if you guys want, you can also check out the Wavemind Amp Suite, Rev F. Man, that thing is sick. It's not free, but it is also incredibly affordably priced. You guys got to check this out because it changed rectifiers for me anyways. I know that's setting it up for kind of like a big impression, but guys, gals, players out there, I'm not lying. If you're into rectifiers, you got to go and make sure you give it a go. because this is a developer that's going to be doing some big ass things in the coming months. Big ass things. I'm not at liberty to speak for the developer at this time, but I just, from what I understand, what I know that the company is doing right now, Wavemind is doing some incredible things. So just guys, gals, guitarists, bass players, be ready. Be ready out there. So what I would do is make sure you want bite. Now, this is where a lot of guitar player, a lot of bands use the rectifier and like a Marshall JCM 800 seamlessly, because a rectifier is naturally scooped, kind of scooped sounding. Most rectifiers carry a bit of a scooped sound, even with the mids up or down. It's just very, it's just kind of a scoop sounding amp. It just kind of is. It's just the way it is, the way the amp works. So to use that, and then to use an amp like the JCM 800, which is always kind of bitey and always kind of angry, and it's always got a nice cut to it. You use it kind of like the Marshall JCM 800 kind of does this, and the rectifier kind of does this, and together they create just this one awesome sort of wall of guitar. And that's where I would look at it for you guys out there. If you're looking for like this giant wall of punk rock guitar, I would do quad track, not a lot of gain. Do 2 tracks of Marshall, 2 tracks of something Mesa Boogie, whether it's Mark series. Those are a little bit more mid-voice than a rectifier, obviously, but there are ways to scoop those too. Generally, the Mesa Boogie side of the stage was handling a more of a scooped, muscular tone with those, like a lot of low end, that muscular low end, and that saw of a high end that kind of blends with the high end of the other amp. But then where the other amp picks up is not handling as much low end and having a bit of more of a bump in the middle. And I've always really liked that. I really do. And I think you guys, it's not that hard to execute. Do 2 tracks of each. And even one, if you want to use a bit more gain and have something that's a little bit older school. I can assure you that back in the day, there were no bands, nobody in punk rock, absolutely no one in punk rock. And I can promise you, nobody was quad tracking their guitars. Because punk rock bands to record, it costs money, and punk rock bands probably didn't want to sit around recording 2 more guitar tracks on everything. Paying to do so was probably not in the cards. I had never even heard of quad tracking until, I don't know, maybe late 90s, early 2000s. And even then I understood it, but I didn't do it really all that often until maybe like 2010 or so. Around there is when I really started to experiment with quad tracking guitars and realized how much of a tool it could be. But prior to that, fuck no, never. So if you're looking to make more of a modern punk mix, sure, yeah, like do, quad track, but don't use a lot of gain. Remember, don't use a lot of gain. You don't want it to come out sounding like metal necessarily. This is about right about here. That's about where you're going to park your car for most punk rock. Yeah, that's really, you just want something that's got, you want to go past the edge of breakup, way past the edge of breakup, but you don't want to get to complete saturation. You want that nice ringing, where you want to make sure that it's got that nice articulation to every note. This is, of course, based on a solid state amp. There's no tubes in the tiny little thing that this is in the analog world. It's so funny. Because in the analog world, this amp is literally the size of maybe like this. It's made to sit on one of those little tiny mini Marshall cabinets. The little mini stacks that have like 1 speaker per cabinet. This is meant to sit on one of those. It's tiny. But in the plug-in world, you can put it through a 412 cab and have it sound like this. Nice. And one of the best punk rock songs of all time comes on in the background. This has one of the best. It's more of a metal riff, but this has one of the best riffs, one of the best parts. And you guys, I like to go on little story times. I want you guys to think of a moment where you heard a song for the first time, and the song was so good that even to this day, years and years and years, 25 years to be exact, 25 years later, I can remember exactly where I was. I can remember exactly where I was. I can remember the moment. I ran a zine. I got a mail call full of CDs for the zine. I was hungover. I was sleeping on a couch. I was sleeping in this. I was living in this party house, sleeping on a couch, and I heard the guy deliver the mail. I stumbled out, grabbed it, and went through it and saw there was a new Gob album in it, and went, "Oh fuck, cool!" And I remember this song came on, and I was barely conscious. This song came on, and this part came on. And I woke everybody in the house up. Check out this part. Oh, it's so good. And then the other part comes up. Oh, this part's so sick. Double time. Oh, fuck yeah. All right, so that is one of the best guitar tones right here. This guitar tone you're hearing right here is one of my favorite guitar tones ever in the history of punk rock. This was a Soldano SLO 100 through a Soldano snakeskin cabinet 412, and on the other side of the stage was JCM 800 with a 1960B slant cab, and that no pedals, no nothing, straight to the amp. Into one guy had a Strat with a humbucker, and the other guy was playing an ES335 with upgraded some sort of upgraded humbuckers. So, and that was what they used in the studio. And the one dude ended up, now he's in Sum 41, actually. They're still in Gob, but he's in Sum 41 now as well. But I guess they're on farewell tour, etc. But it's the little frail guy that kind of got added to Sum 41 after the fact. Yeah. So anyways, we're making punk rock tones. That was a fun little story time because we just happened to be talking about punk rock tones. That song came on. It was meant to be. It's not a lot of punk rock on this song list. So this is about as good as I'm going to get the this amp sounding. Of course, you can get it a little bit more. If you're only to use this for one, like say you were to only use this amp, I would say using just finding a tone. Okay, and there's a few ways that you can get a nice gainier tone. So you could say one way it would be to do it just like I'm doing it right now. This would be about right here. And then if you were to do the second track, really, all you need to do is move this knob from 4 to 6 for your other track. That's it. You hear that one has more of a mid hump and it's a bit more muscular there. Then on the other side, you're going to want to just take this, roll it over to about 3.5, and then and it's why you're like, oh, he's forgetting about hard rock. Not really, because all the same gear that's used for hard rock is also used for punk rock, with basically a very similar a tonal approach from both sides of the stage. You're going to see very similar gear on stage with any random American hard rock band that you would with American punk rock band. You're basically, and the majority of good punk rock, I'm probably going to get punched in the face for saying this by somebody someday, but the majority of good punk rock comes from the United States. That's just the way it is. And the majority of good hard rock also comes from the United States. So that it's bound to be the fact that there's going to be a lot of Mesa Boogie in the mix there, because those amps are made in America, and that is the American high gain sound is kind of owned by Mesa Boogie. And on the other side, Marshall amps are very, very easy to get anywhere in the world because they're Marshall. And so those are still very present, although admittedly probably a bit less present in modern hard rock. You're seeing less Marshall, more other brands, more EVH, more stuff like that. But for the most part, the majority of the gear that you're going to see on the stage for hard rock and rock in general is going to be very similar to what you're going to see on stage with punk rock. Although you might see a little bit more like Fender and Vox, stuff like that, which typically you won't see a lot of those brands. You might see Bassman, you might see the AC30 now and again, but most of the time you're going to be looking at, again, Marshall, Mesa Boogie, Marshall, Mesa Boogie. So, and that luckily for us guitar players out there, there's so much of both of those things for a plugin, whether it be free or paid or affordable or on sale occasionally, all of that stuff. We as guitar players get to benefit from a vast majority of Mesa Boogie and Marshall offerings out there, be it licensed or be it unlicensed, be it rad, be it not so rad. There are a lot of options out there, and in other streams, we're going to be able to take you guys in. We've already done it, in fact, in a few different streams. We've guided you through some of the good rectifiers. We've also tried to guide you guys through some of the good Marshalls, and we'll be continuously doing more content on stuff like that. So now here's the other way I would also kind of go about getting a nice tone. You could do one tone. You could set this right in the middle. All right, so that's set right in the middle at 5. But this contour control is going to do a lot for you when it comes to trying to vary up your tone to go left and right in stereo. Now, where I would go with this, though, is if you wanted to do something that sounded like kind of like this, you could also roll this gain back and hit the boost mod. It's a whole different vibe right there. So whether I've got the gain dialed up to roughly 75 or 80%, or you could dime it, although I would only dime it if you're going to go true like one track per side. If you're not going to quad track. If you're not going to quad track, sure, jam that sumbitch up there. That's going to be great for like a hard rock type sound, modern or otherwise. And depending on what punk band you're looking at, a band like Strung Out would definitely use more gain, and they also play in D. That sounds so fucking good. Thank you, Eddie. I agree with you. And this is free. This entire rig is free. You can go out there and dominate with a tone like that. And where other people will be like, I have so many, I paid so much for this and that and the other thing. You're like, yeah, well, I paid not a damn fucking cent because all I'm running right now is the X Drive. Hi, this is the X Drive. And they're very easygoing settings. I sometimes I'll just try to make it a touch angry with the dirt knob, and then this will be to taste. In this case, I've got it up pretty strong. The tone is just kind of chilling, and it's going to be to taste. That's free. L12X also free. Nadir also free. The impulse response also free. 100% even the room verb I'm using right now. Oh my god, it's also free. Look at that. Everything here is free. Freeware Fridays. Fuck yeah, Freeware Fridays. And look at this. Lagwagon comes in now. The punk that it never gives us is all coming to play during the little punk rock portion of the stream here today. Fantastic, right? And I mentioned that Lagwagon doesn't use a lot of gains, so here's an example of that. This is all Marshall. You can hear there's like barely any gain on that. That's on the one side. That's just two Marshalls that are probably got the gain on, the preamp gain on like 7 or 8, maybe dimed, no pedals. And they both use Les Pauls. And you got two guitar players on the same stage using Les Pauls and Marshalls. Things are going to get big pretty quick. That sounds freaking great. I'm really liking that. Let's try a couple other pedals while we're here. Let's try the Greed Smasher. This is also free. That's way too much gain for Lagwagon. It's like both guitars together. So then I would roll it back and hit the boost mod. And that's a whole different style of gain right there. It's completely different than the one you were using before. Like this. Or very different sounding gain. So this thing, as mentioned, if you want to do hard rock, you want to do punk rock for free, this is going to be how you do that. Don't undercut the crunk here, though. The crunk here can still do some definitely modern type sounds for sure. Hard rock for sure. You'll be able to get out of this. We're going to be featuring this one on probably next week. I'm going to be doing a all Nembrini free Friday, I believe, with also doing a little bit of a if there's any movement forward. We'll be showcasing every movement forward with NAMM Universal as we go on only on Freeware Fridays. So you guys will be able to be here. Occasionally, Freeware Fridays might get kind of railroaded for something else we might be trying out, but that might only be about once a month, if that. So you guys should be able to tune in here every Friday at 4:30 Eastern Time and 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, because who the fuck would be streaming at 4:30 in the morning? I don't know. Is that a challenge? Did I just challenge myself? No one will be there. Maybe the overseas people would be there though. Man, sounds good too. That's not using that though. So if we're gonna go use something like crunk, we're gonna go over here. I'll just go over it real quick. And I can hear the IRs overlapping there, so I'm gonna turn that off. Just because I want to keep that consistent. There is an IR on board. There's a bit of a volume drop there when you disable the IR. This is all usually kind of this one kind of comes set up to slate. That sounds great. I'm gonna break. That's a bit more gain than I kind of bargained for, so let's back that off. I'm going to bring this back. I think that's a bit high. Bit harsh. So let's bring that back. Let's bring this back. That's much better. can also turn off the edge. That's a more of, probably going to give you a bit more of a punk rock vibe if you turn the edge off. By doing that, I can bring the treble back up a bit. Again, so it's free, 100% free, and you can do that for nada. Zero, zippo, nothing. Okay, and so nothing that you guys will see here on Freeware Fridays will cost any money. So if you're seeing it on this stream, unless I am very, anything that costs money, I will let you guys know in that moment. This costs money. This is not free. And otherwise, everything you guys see here is going to be absolutely $0.00. And if you guys come back, likely tomorrow, all the links for all the developers of anything we used in the stream will be up and ready for you. You guys can hammer on those links and find all of this stuff, unless you can just kind of see it as it is here, and you probably track it all down anyway. If you any questions you guys have or anything you want me to demo in the future for Freeware Fridays, let me know in the comments. What do you guys want to see on Freeware Fridays? And I can definitely fire some of that up, whether it's an IR pack, pedal, an amp, bass, guitar, doesn't really matter. If there's something I don't know about, something we don't know about as a team especially, or if it's something that I just have kind of slipped my mind, I just haven't thought about it in a while, that also tends to happen. So feel free to recommend anything, honestly, anything you guys would like, and I'm always happy to give it a rip. If it's got quality though, nothing. I mean, if it's something really bad, it sucks. I really never want to put negative content on the internet. There's enough negativity out there as it is right now. And sure, there are a lot of plugins that I fucking hate. Oh boy, I could do stream after stream after stream. I could do 100 streams, not 100. I could do a lot of streams on stuff I don't like about this industry. Or plugins I don't like, but that would be, there's no point to that. We've already got enough negativity going on as is. So how about we try to focus on the stuff that fucking rips and stuff that will benefit your life? And however, if you guys ask me in a live stream about what I think about a plugin, or if you ask me in the comments, if you guys ask me or us what we think about a plugin and we don't like it, we may be forced to just be honest and be like, this is something that definitely not something we'd recommend, but that's about as far as we're going to go with it. Don't like to be negative unless we really have to be. All right. So today, what did we do? We went over the basic alpha signal chain of what we're going to be doing with NAMM Universal. Very excited about it. Talked about that in great detail. You guys know it's coming. You guys know that we will share every step of the road with you guys. Very excited about that. I'm very excited for the NAMM community to be able to try this, and hopefully it's useful for them. If they don't find it useful, well, that's understandable. I mean, it is what it is. You can't force everybody to like everything, and that's okay. It'll be a bummer, though. Nonetheless, in the second half of the stream, what did we do today? Well, we went over just some basic ideas of how you would get some more of a hard rock type tone with some freeware. Is that the only piece of freeware that's good for punk rock and, and hard rock? Shit, no. There's lots of that stuff out there. But we'll get into that in another stream. Saying that, I am going to be out of here, guys. My voice is starting to burn out. I've got a bunch of streaming to do tomorrow, so I want to make sure that I can talk all weekend. This has been fun. Freeware Fridays are always fun. I really enjoy hanging out with you guys, talking about some free shit. And go and try Eddie's IRs already. Eddie, link him. Link him, Eddie. Quickly. Link him. Seriously, that tone is awesome. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I really do appreciate it, Eddie. All right, so guys, I'm out of here. You guys should be out of here. Go and enjoy your rest of your evenings. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of mine. Hang out with the missus. Hang out with the recuperating. And he's sitting right in the sun. Look at this guy right back here. That's him laying in a little ball in that nice ray of sun. He's doing great. And thank you guys all for your questions and your concern. He appreciates it. I appreciate it. And with that, I will see you guys tomorrow. My challenge, as I said earlier, and I remembered, go grab the Audiority L12X. Take the neural amp modeler, put that right on in front of the L12X. You don't even have to use your own IRs. Just hit that button. Make sure you hit the button to engage the IR. Now, then you feed the neural amp modeler, all the pedal plugins that you can handle. And the L12X will look at you and smile. You might have to kind of mess with the amp a little bit to go up and down with the gain to kind of go with whatever pedal you're kind of looking at. But I promise you, all of those pedals are going to sound really great. I don't know why it makes sense, but it does. They sound, those two products sound wonderful together. So enjoy that. Enjoy Tone Hunt. Go and hunt for pedals. If you find something cool that I need to know about, make sure you tell me next Freeware Friday. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. My name is Tyler. This is the AmSim Universe. Thank you to the staff. Thank you for everybody that's been watching, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Cheers.